Ethan and Emily have known each other long enough to understand each other's moods without words. They live in the same city, work in different fields, and meet often because being around each other feels natural. Over time, a quiet rhythm formed between them, friendly dinners, long talks, and inside jokes, but both were too afraid to cross the line into something more. Their friendship felt safe, and neither wanted to risk losing it. Still, underneath every smile and every shared moment, there is unspoken longing. They both feel it, but neither has admitted it. On a rainy Friday night, after a long week, Ethan and Emily decide to grab dinner together. The weather outside is cold and messy, but the small cafe they sit in is warm. They talk about work stress, annoying coworkers, and small victories from the week. Emily laughs at Ethan's jokes, and Ethan steals small glances at her when she isn't paying attention. The night feels easy, almost too easy. Their conversations feel like a habit, something both depend on more than they realize. When they finally leave the cafe, the rain is heavier. Ethan walks her to her apartment, holding his jacket over her head, even though it only covers her a little. Emily smiles at the gesture, knowing he always does small things like that without thinking. They stop under the dim light of her building entrance, and she sighs with a tiredness that goes beyond the weather. It is the kind of sigh a person gives when life has pressed them down slowly, piece by piece. She tells him about her rising rent, how the landlord keeps increasing it every few months. She jokes lightly about how expensive the city has become, but her voice has a crack in it. Ethan notices. He always notices. She tries to sound casual, but he can tell she is worried. She explains that she might not be able to stay there much longer if things get worse. The admission surprises him. Emily rarely shows this kind of vulnerability, trying to cheer her up. He blurts out a joke. "Well, if it gets too hard, you could always move in with me." He says it lightly, with a half smile, expecting her to roll her eyes or tease him back. Instead, she pauses. For a moment, she just looks at him with searching eyes, as if trying to understand whether he means it. The streetlight above them flickers, and the rain softens for a second, making the moment strangely quiet. Then she smiles, but it's different, not her usual bright one. This one is soft, almost fragile. "That would be nice," she says in a low voice. The words catch him off guard. He feels a strange pressure in his chest, something between hope and confusion. He expected a joke in return, not a sincere answer. He wonders if she is serious or if she is simply exhausted from everything happening in her life. Before he can say anything else, she waves him goodnight and steps inside. The door closes gently behind her, leaving Ethan standing alone under the rain. He takes a slow breath, trying to understand what just happened. The idea of her living with him did not scare him, it excited him. But he also does not want to misunderstand her feelings or take advantage of her situation. He walks home quickly, the rain soaking through his clothes. But his thoughts are louder than the weather. He replays the night again and again. Her smile, her tone, her silence after his joke. Something about it felt real, heavier than a casual moment. He starts to wonder if she has been hiding her feelings the same way he has been hiding his. He questions whether the joke came from a place of truth inside him, maybe. He wanted her closer all along. When he reaches his apartment, he sits for a long time in the dark living room. His heartbeat feels unsteady, not from the walk, but from the possibility of what Emily's words might have meant. He tries to convince himself it was nothing, just a tired comment. But deep inside, he knows it didn't feel like nothing. It felt like a door had opened, even if neither of them had stepped through it yet. The next morning, when Ethan wakes up earlier than usual, his mind is still filled with last night's moment, the rain, Emily's tired smile, and the quiet way she said, "That would be nice." He tries to shake it off, telling himself not to think too much. But the truth is, he can't stop thinking about it. He moves around his apartment, makes coffee, and opens the windows to let fresh air in. But the uneasy excitement in his chest stays just as he sits down with his mug. There's a sudden knock at his front door. The sound is sharp, unexpected, almost urgent. He sets his coffee aside and walks to the door with a strange feeling rising inside him. When he opens it, his breath catches. Emily is standing there, not dressed casually for a visit, not smiling, not even carrying her usual small purse. Instead, she has a travel bag slung over her shoulder, her hair tied back in a messy bun, and her eyes filled with a mix of fear and determination. She looks like someone who made a big decision in a very short amount of time. "Is your offer still good?" she asks quietly. Ethan freezes. His mind struggles to process the scene, even though it's happening right in front of him. Emily shifts on her feet as if afraid he'll say no. She tries to explain herself quickly, her words tumbling out in one long breath. She tells him she got an official notice early that morning. Her rent is going up again worse than she expected. She can't afford it anymore. She doesn't have time to look for a new place. She doesn't want to impose on friends who already have full homes. And then she says the words that make Ethan's chest tighten. "When I remembered what you said last night, it felt like the only safe thought I had." Her voice trembles, not dramatically, just enough to show she's been holding in her emotions for hours. She isn't crying, but she looks tired in a deeper way than the night before. Life has pushed her fast, and she's just trying to catch her breath. Ethan steps back instantly, opening the door wider. "Emily, of course. Come in." His answer is simple, but his heart is racing. He can tell she isn't here casually. This isn't a small decision. She trusts him enough to walk into his home with all her worries. He feels honored, scared, hopeful, too many things at once. Emily steps inside slowly, like she's unsure if she's doing the right thing. She looks around nervously, as if expecting his home to push her out. Ethan gently takes her bag from her shoulder, and she lets him, her hands dropping to her sides in relief. He places the bag on the couch and turns back to her, trying to give her a calm smile. "You don't have to explain anything," he says softly. "You're not alone. You can stay here as long as you need." Emily nods, but he can see she's overwhelmed. She sits on the edge of the couch and takes a deep breath, as if finally letting her walls down. She admits how scared she was when she saw the rent notice, how her hands shook as she tried to figure out her options. She tells him she didn't want to ask anyone for help except him. Something about his presence made her feel safe enough to try. Ethan listens quietly, not interrupting. He wants her to talk. He wants her to feel protected. He wants to tell her that he meant the offer from the moment he said it, even if it came out as a joke. But he doesn't confess that. He doesn't want to make her uncomfortable or pressure her when she's already carrying so much. When she finishes talking, the tension in the room shifts. It becomes softer, warmer, like something invisible between them has changed shape. Emily finally smiles. Not a joyful smile, but a grateful one. "I don't want to be a problem for you," she whispers. "You're not," Ethan replies firmly. "You never could be." For a moment, they simply sit there, the quiet filling the space around them. Emily's shoulders relax. Ethan feels something inside him settle too, like this moment was meant to happen. Even if it arrived sooner and faster than either of them expected. Emily settles into Ethan's apartment. The first few days are surprisingly smooth. They move around each other with the ease of old friends. Mornings start with coffee and quick breakfast conversations. Evenings are spent cooking together, their movements synced almost naturally. Emily places her things neatly in the spare room, her presence adding warmth and life to a space that had felt quiet and empty before. Ethan notices how her laughter fills the apartment, softening the edges of his usually controlled, orderly world. They share small routines that grow into comfort. Ethan realizes how much he has missed having someone around. Watching Emily make tea, laughing at her small mistakes, teasing her when she burns toast, he feels a quiet happiness he hadn't known he needed. Emily, in turn, begins to feel secure here. For the first time in weeks, she doesn't have to worry about finding a new place, paying more rent, or handling everything alone. She begins to relax in ways she hadn't allowed herself before, letting down the walls she's built over months of stress. But comfort begins to carry its own tension. Living under the same roof reveals details neither had noticed before. Ethan sees Emily in vulnerable moments staring out the window, lost in thought, sometimes speaking to herself softly when she doesn't think anyone is listening. One night, he finds her in the kitchen late, quietly sipping water, and asks if she's okay. She pauses, hesitant, then admits she's been feeling anxious about everything: her work, her finances, and even the pace of life. Her honesty strikes him. She trusts him enough to share her worries, and he realizes that trust is deeper than he expected. They continue their routines, but moments like these remind Ethan that living together isn't just about shared chores. It's about emotions, about the unspoken. He notices how she sometimes leans closer when she's focused on something, how her presence lingers in the apartment even after she's gone from the room. Every glance, every small gesture begins to feel meaningful. Ethan catches himself smiling more than usual, thinking about her, feeling something he's been avoiding for a long time: love. One evening, while they are folding laundry together, the tension reaches a new level. Emily picks up one of Ethan's shirts by accident and holds it against her chest. For a moment, neither notices the other watching. Then Ethan looks up and their eyes meet. Emily quickly looks away, her cheeks pink. She whispers, almost too softly for him to hear, I like your scent." The admission is simple but loaded with meaning. Ethan feels his heart skip. He wants to respond, to tell her he feels the same way, that he's been drawn to her for years, but he stops himself. He knows this moment is delicate. He doesn't want to scare her or make her feel pressured. From that day, their relationship begins to shift in subtle ways. Small touches linger longer. Smiles carry a new warmth. The apartment, once a safe and neutral space, becomes a place of emotional closeness, of shared moments that neither can ignore. Ethan feels joy in seeing Emily relax in his space, in hearing her laugh freely, in noticing the small things she does that make life brighter. Emily, too, starts to notice him differently. The way he speaks, the little gestures he makes, and the silent care he shows start to matter more than ever. Yet, despite the comfort and growing closeness, both feel a quiet tension. Neither wants to cross the line too quickly to risk the fragile balance they've found. Ethan wonders if Emily feels the same pull he does, while Emily wonders if her feelings are real or just a response to being safe and cared for. Both are caught in the delicate dance of attraction and friendship, a slow burn that neither fully controls. As the days pass, their connection deepens, but so does the unspoken question between them. Will they admit their feelings, or will this closeness remain in the realm of friendship? The apartment, once a simple home, becomes a witness to the invisible bond growing between them, filled with shared laughter, quiet vulnerability, and small gestures of care that speak louder than words. Part 3 ends with the sense that something is about to happen. Both Ethan and Emily feel it, though neither says it aloud. Living together has changed everything. The tension is no longer just emotionalized, tangible. And as they continue to share their lives in these small, everyday moments, the next step in their relationship feels inevitable. Something is building, and the story leaves the audience waiting, wondering who will make the first move when emotions finally become too strong to ignore. The tension between Ethan and Emily reaching its quiet peak. Living together has brought them closer, but the truth of their feelings has remained unspoken. Both feel its small glances, lingering touches, subtle changes in voice, but neither has admitted what's in their hearts. Their days are filled with laughter, shared meals, and gentle teasing. But beneath the surface, a question hangs in the air. Will they ever speak openly about what they feel? One night, a sudden storm hits the city. The rain pours heavily, rattling windows, and the occasional flash of lightning illuminates the apartment in stark white. Emily, startled by the storm, finds herself unable to stay in her room. She walks slowly down the hall and knocks lightly on Ethan's bedroom door. Her voice is quiet, almost hesitant. "Can I sit here a while? The storm's too loud." Ethan's heart beats faster. He nods without a word and gestures for her to come in. She sits at the edge of his bed, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. The room is small, intimate, filled with the warm light of a single lamp. Outside, the storm roars, but inside, the tension between them is even stronger. For a long time, neither speaks. The rain and thunder fill the silence, but the air is charged with emotion. Finally, Emily breaks the quiet. Her voice trembles slightly as she asks Ethan, "Why did you really offer your place to me that night?" Even as a joke. Her eyes search his face, looking for honesty. Ethan takes a slow breath, knowing this is the moment he has been waiting for, but also fearing that the words might change everything between them. "I offered because I wanted you near me," he admits softly. His eyes lock on hers. "I've wanted that for a long time." His voice is steady, but inside, his heart is pounding. He sees the surprise in her eyes, the quiet hope that he has finally spoken the truth. Emily shifts slightly, her fingers brushing against the edge of the blanket as if grounding herself. She whispers, "Then why didn't you say anything sooner?" Her words carry a mix of sadness and longing. She had been waiting unknowingly for him to speak, and the hesitation has created its own tension over time. Ethan shakes his head slightly. "Because I didn't want to make things harder for you. You were stressed, and I didn't want to add more." His honesty is raw, unfiltered. He is no longer hiding his feelings. For a moment, the room is silent again, but it is different this time. It feels softer, warmer, as if the storm outside has mirrored the storm of emotions finally released indoors. Emily's eyes glisten with unshed tears, not of sadness, but of relief and hope. She inches closer to him, her voice barely audible. "Ethan, what if I moved in because I wanted to be near you too?" Ethan feels a rush of warmth, a mixture of relief, joy, and longing. He reaches out, taking her hand gently. The touch is soft, tentative, but it carries the weight of unspoken promises. Emily squeezes his hand in return, and in that simple gesture, years of friendship, laughter, and hidden emotions are acknowledged. They don't speak for a few seconds, just holding hands and letting the connection settle. Outside, the storm continues, but inside, there is a calm that neither expected. Ethan and Emily sit closer now, feeling the bond that has been building over months finally taking shape in something tangible. There is no rush, no sudden leap, just the quiet acknowledgement that they belong near each other, that their feelings are mutual, and that this moment is theirs alone. The night stretches on, but neither wants to break the silence too soon. They talk in soft whispers, sharing small thoughts and memories, realizing how much they enjoy each other's company beyond friendship. Each laugh, each glance, each brush of hands strengthens the emotional intimacy that has grown naturally. The apartment, once a neutral space, now feels like a home filled with warmth, trust, and love. Part 4 ends on a quiet, emotional high. Ethan and Emily are no longer just roommates or friends. They are two hearts, acknowledging their feelings, slowly stepping into a romantic connection that feels safe, gentle, and real. The storm outside fades, but the spark inside the room remains, hinting at the love that has quietly grown over time and is now ready to flourish. The story leaves the audience with a sense of hope and anticipation, wondering how their relationship will grow as they take the next steps together.